Wow. It's another episode. Episode 237. Hype intensifies. Sure. Uh
I called it the book review.
the book review. Does PewDiePie still exists? I'm old. I'm dating myself. What's up, AJ? AJ's here. That's all that really counts. Wilson's here. Lisa's here.
Evening.
All right. We love it. All right, first, let's start. Who is this book for, do you think?
I'll let ladies go first.
Okay. So I actually think this book is a rebuttal to the more complete Chondro.
What? Spicy take right away out the gate. All right, I haven't read the more complete Chondro. Can you elaborate, please?
Well, they kind of talk about it in the book. You might, like, maybe you didn't catch it, but
well, I heard like little sassiness, like
in the
1,000 grams. I don't think so.
Even in the forward, it talks about
with Tracy.
Really, these snakes aren't so hard. It might just be that maybe some of the old ways that we're keeping up, that they had been kept in the past, might be making it so that they die, or you know, we have problems breeding them.
Is that what the content of the more complete Chondro?
And I think it wanted. So I would say, do you want me to just give my overall take?
Yes. Yeah.
I would say, and it's hard to talk about this book without talking about the more complete Chondro, but I'll try to do it. But I would say that this is a good, I would say get them both. And this is like a companion. Like you could, if you want to, this really fills in the gaps of the natural history, especially is the natural history is where this book shines the most for me. And then as far as the captive reproductive husbandry, especially, I would say you still really, I find myself, because if I'm gonna like attempt to breed a certain python, even if I've already bred them before, I love going back and referencing the books, comparing notes to what I'm seeing and what the book says. And I know the book isn't like gospel and it doesn't happen exactly, just having the guideline. And I find myself looking at the more complete Chondro more than this one for that, specifically for reproductive husbandry.
Are you saying that it's more
this
complete?
Is what you need for the more complete Chondro does not have all of the natural history in it that this one does.
Would you agree with that, Wilson? Or
yes, and I would probably go a little further and say, like, this one, the natural history, and I feel like the captive husbandry is much better than the more complete Chondro. And then the more complete Chondro does have more, it's more focused on breeding, whereas this one is not like as more focused on it. So I mean, I've been to Greg Maxwell's house, so like I respect everybody's opinion, this, that, and the third. I think that Maxwell wrote the book a little before a lot of the research was done, and maybe, you know, maybe a little bit premature on the natural history and captive.
I think it mainly, I think that, so I didn't get my first green tree python until 2016, like early 2016. And this book, I think, came out in 2017. So I pretty much, I feel like that, because a lot of the stuff that this book wants you to do is not to overfeed your chondros, because there's like the tail hanging syndrome and just like females retaining eggs or ovulating slugs,
and also keeping them so high
like
as well.
A lot of that, and maybe it is in regard, this book did fix the problem, because you don't really see that in collections. Like, it's not a thing anymore.
I think the book did it, and then like time and people, you know,
and so definitely. I mean, if that's what they were setting out to do, I think they did it. And because I can think of watching a video of one like well-known ball python breeder who also keeps green tree pythons, and I remember thinking that is what they're talking about when they talk about overfed snakes. You
Mhm.
can clearly see it, and you almost never see that anymore. Like I can't even think of it.
I mean, back when I just got in, I think I got my first one in 2003, and like it was like people were trying to get them to 1,000 grams, 1,500 grams, even bigger. So like I think that totally changed through time and with the help of this book, because like this book was seen as like the Bible, right? And it definitely isn't that. I don't think any book is really, right? So, but this definitely, and then this one, I feel like they went the extra effort to say that this isn't the end all be all, right? And that things are going to change. So I feel like they both have their place. And like this one is like, I bought the rest of them just like this to additional reading, but like
there's a
this
third
one, the
book.
pictures.
There's a third book too that I like.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
the
this one.
No, I have the this one.
Oh yeah, this one. Yeah, this is the one. But this is like not for
This
any
one-
type of husbandry,
this
right?
one-
This is like, yeah.
This one's heavy reading, and I have to admit I haven't read. I've read barely any of it, but there's some crazy.
It's
stuff
good though.
there.
It's good because like, yeah, it gives you insight to like more of the temperatures and things like that there. And then the pictures in it are amazing. The story's cool. Yeah, that one is the one I would say I really like.
Yeah, and I love it. It does do the thing where it tells you the information from the studies without having to like read through
research it. Yeah.
Scientific papers where I'll be the first to admit half of those papers I'm like, I think I understand what they're trying to say. So I really appreciate this book for that.
Well, I at least appreciate the book for trying to cite some scientific papers or noting when it's personal observation or the communication of a personal observation.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these books, hobby books, they're just like, I just fucking said so. And you're like, okay, who are you? And you're like, well, I've had them for 40 years. Well, who cares? Like a little bit of references, I think is healthy. It doesn't have to be exhaustive. But this amount, I think, is good for me. I was like, oh, thank God, Juliander wrote it. He has a PhD, so I'm assuming it was his influence in that.
And also Terry Phillip is like,
yeah, I think it was. I mean, I might be wrong, but I got if I remember correctly, I think Justin went on a podcast to talk about it, and it sounded like it was Justin's like, little
magnum opus
project. Like he's the one that wanted to do it.
Okay. And
then he finally found someone that would help him.
Right. So as somebody like sciencey trained, I thought it was more appropriate this level of citations than other snake books I've read recently. I was like, oh, okay, thank God. Like, give me a little bit. Don't infantilize me.
And
treat me like an adult
too.
Yes.
Like, it's affordable and it's really easy to digest.
Right. I appreciate a paperback edition that's succinct.
Now, there were some people that were upset about it being so affordable and being so like, not so high quality pages and pictures and stuff.
Really?
Like that. Yeah. The Eco, because I guess they were trying to do it with Eco, or Eco wanted to do it, and then they went another route, like personal, so they can make more money, which I respect.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Did Justin end up publishing it himself?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's right back here. That's his company, Australian Addiction.
Oh, well, good for him. I think it's a fine
Yeah,
whatever.
Look, I'm getting the book for the
really
information.
cool,
It's not
actually.
exactly.
Yeah, like the book is good enough quality. You could read
Right.
it many times. I don't think it's going to fall apart.
No, definitely not.
I don't. And I got mine used to someone it was pre-loved off of eBay, and it was like $7 or something.
Oh wow.
So it's like, because it's paperback, it's not a crisis or a collectible. Good to me. Good. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
and I think I would say if you get both of them because they complement each other. That's what
especially if you want to like go the designer route and learn about that type of stuff, because there's none of that in Julian's book. So.
And to be clear, the More Complete Chondro came out in 2005, so that means
but
these
the first
authors
one
had
out.
more time.
Exactly, but the first one, you got to remember, the first complete chondro came out in 2003.
Okay, so they updated
before that, but the update is not. The update is more like pictures and stuff like that. It's not. It's pretty much the same.
All right, let's go through it a little bit if you want.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. The foreword is by Dave and Tracy Barker, which was cool.
Yep.
Good for them. This book feels like they could have written it in some ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what you said in the preview for the video, that I was reading this and I was feeling like a lot of this you could just cross out, chondropython or green tree python and put in another Australian or Indonesian python, and it would help you.
Yeah, not too hot, not too fat.
There you go.
Cycle feed.
Yeah.
So that's good advice no matter what species.
They eat lizards when they're babies, and then once they reach a certain maturity, they switch to mammals.
Yeah. These ones are green and they like to climb. So like, yeah, it is different, but they're not like, they didn't break the python mold when they
turned green.
Yes.
Right.
There's still a snake that's of this genus,
just a boreal and then
yeah.
It doesn't include the new taxonomy because of the time it was published. You think that'd be confusing to people now? I think it's fine, but I think maybe we should tell people about that.
Yeah, that is an unfortunate part.
Right. So, and another thing it doesn't include is nidovirus because the publication date predates the discovery.
Oh, it doesn't? That surprises me.
They reference like respiratory infections after shipping due to stress, but it doesn't include anything about it because the paper came out at least the same year.
Yeah, that is true. I think right around it, because I feel like the nido in green tree pythons like became a big deal not that long, like maybe 2018.
Yeah, I don't know when.
Yeah, I think that was because of us.
Cody and Pia kind of like went on. The first time I started hearing about it was when Cody and Pia went on NPR, I think, and they did a whole episode about it.
Yeah. But don't y'all think that was like more us doing that than it really being a super big issue with the snakes? I mean, everybody was doing those breeding loans and just throwing them around, and I just feel like that was the cause of it more than anything.
Well, and also the way that they're collected and kept in the farms.
Oh yeah, definitely then, but it seemed like it hit collections that were, established, right? And I feel like, I mean, people were sending them all over all the time. And it's just like when you're doing it, and then they would just put them right in the cage, right? Like, that's not, and I feel like that was more, because now it's not that you don't hear about it, but it's not as prevalent now as it was and during that period when people were doing that really heavy.
Do you think we're kind of skipping ahead here on accident? Do chondros get chlamydia the way ETBs do? Face chlamydia.
I would probably say they can, but I don't
Wait.
think they get it with the same
Okay.
like percentage. You know what I mean? Like, or as
Do
or
they,
as
or is that just like something that they
some of them have gotten face chlamydia, and that's why some people don't feed emeralds or basins birds, because it may be a bird vector.
Mhm.
But then I'm like, a lot of people who keep arboreals keep multiple kinds. I'm like, can you give chondro?
Wait, does it hurt?
chlamydia?
Do they die from it?
Yeah, it becomes like a continuous infection in their oral cavity thing. Is that gross? It's not something I've found someone to talk to about it.
Don't get that.
I've never heard of it, but that doesn't mean anything with spillover events.
Right.
They could. I've seen evidence that someone had sunshine virus in a boa in Europe, but it's not supposed to be in them because it's a Morelia specific thing. So I just want to know if you all have ever heard of a GTP getting face chlamydia.
I haven't heard.
Okay.
But I definitely
would. What is it like? It looks like a mouth infection. Like,
kind of, and it goes down the respiratory tract and gives them an RI too.
Yeah, it's like everybody just says RI for it, and it could be like 1,000 different things that cause symptoms that look like RI. So it's like,
yeah.
But it's bacterial, so they
honestly,
could be...
my green tree pythons are very hardy. I have never gotten a single sniffle from them.
All right, that's good.
Like, and I have wild caught animals, and I've swabbed them, but I don't always. I've got negatives, but I feel like negatives aren't. I feel like because I've done all different ways of keeping them, where I keep them in an ambient temperature where they stay in the mid 80s, and then in this one they get cold, like down to the lower mid 70s, and they're very hardy. I don't know. I think that it is kind of like the farms. If you look around in some of those Indonesian Facebook pages, where I don't know who these people are, if they're collectors. I don't think they're collectors, or if they're like the farms. They put all the snakes in a bucket together in water.
Yeah.
So they're all sitting in water together.
Yeah.
Great.
They do some weird
pictures
things
like that all the time.
In water.
Well, they're probably very dehydrated because they go from the collector on the island, and they sit there because they have to wait. It's not like you can just like get a boat super easy. Plus, the farms have to like get a permit, so they're sitting over on Papua for who knows how long. So I don't know if they're taken very good care of. It's probably similar to what happens to the emerald tree boas. Like you've seen pictures of them like being in these wooden crates, not something you would want to see a boa or a python sit in for who knows how long.
Right. But then like at the same time, like with that whole Prostasi thing that happened with the guy in Canada, I don't think that they sent visibly sick animals with RI, right? I think that because they shipped them in the winter and they shipped them from far away, you don't know what temperatures them things went through, the stress of the shipment that's so long, right? And cold temperatures probably led to, you know what I mean? I definitely don't think that they would have sent, right? Especially to somebody that's so well known, right? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I do know that people swab their green tree pythons and they get positive results. You hear every now and then.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is something that happened. this book was written like right before like two important things happened.
Right.
The green tree.
Right. I guess to be clear, there were papers about nidovirus published before 2017, but I think the
awareness of it,
like explosion.
Yeah, and then feeling probably well enough to put it in a book was probably another issue too, right?
Yes. All right. Well, let's talk about the 1,000 gram versus 300 gram. This is an interesting question. Are we? And it comes up in Discord every day. Like the wild can produce a snake of a particular size because that's how much calories that snake can eat. And obviously adult size is plastic and they have a genetic potential and you can push that with overfeeding and you can stunt them with underfeeding. But in the wild, chondros, or what was it, 300 to
600
600 something average weight. And then the minimum in captivity for a while was 1,000 to breed.
Right. So I think there's a couple of things, right?
Okay.
Were you done? I'm sorry.
No, yeah, go for it. I just wanted to get that as a starter discussion.
Right. Okay. So I think there's a couple of things, right? I know every book and every study says that they start on lizards and then transfer to rodents, and it's like this black and white thing. I don't really know if I buy that it's black and white, right? If you've seen those emerald tree skinks, they're pretty big as adults, right? I don't think they just stop eating something they've been eating their whole life. I also think from feeding reptiles to other reptiles, nothing really comes out that you can discern is a reptile, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just tiny little teeth. Maybe, you may not even see that. But when they eat off a rodent, you actually see remnants of the rodent. So it's I think that they're eating more lizard than we probably think.
I would push back a little because they talk about it in this book that the reason why, because they also found beetles and
that's something else I want to talk about.
They're saying that was from, so they are using, I think, what are they using DNA to try to say that?
Maybe not at this point, but now they could more easily.
Because they were saying that they think that the beetles were from the
prey items that they're
eating.
Right.
But what if they weren't?
No, I wasn't saying they ate them.
Yeah, copperheads they love a cicada nymph. They're so in.
Yeah, the babies have been known to eat moths and stuff like that too, right? Or you're saying
that's from the lizard? I guess is it an accidental predation event where they just feel it and they're on the ground looking for a skink and they accidentally eat a moth and it's fine? Or is this
it might have been something like that. That's what I imagine it was.
Or is it they just got to eat whatever they can fit in their mouth to get as big as quick as possible?
But Justin does talk about how the bears eat the moths too, the larvae.
Right. It could be something in them that
they can actually gain because there's a lot of fat in those things.
Right. So that makes sense too, yeah.
And there are snakes that normally eat vertebrates that will switch to invertebrates sometimes.
Right. And then the other side of what I want to say is what we're feeding them in captivity, the rodents that we're feeding them are totally different than the rodents. A wild rodent is going to be much more lean than this lab-fed stuff that we're giving them here. So you have to figure that.
Whoops, sorry.
Then the frequency in which we're feeding them. I mean, most people just can't help but feed them because they're kind of begging for it. I brought one down, it's wiggling its tail right now. They kind of beg you for it. So I feel like people are kind of inclined to feed them more than they probably should be fed.
Do you think most chondro people today have internalized the feeding regime proposed in this book, which is about every 2 weeks?
I think the people that are serious about it and are trying to breed them probably have, but there's now a group of people that just get them for pets. And I don't know if they are there, but I probably feel like everybody else is the people that have been in it for a while, probably because their goal is to breed them. So they don't want to get egg binding. They don't want to get a fat female or even a fat male, right? Because you want your male to be active. So
would somebody be willing to try to feed their chondro a bug? I know you don't have moths in
I
your
think
pocket.
that I have.
Like
I've
a
tried,
silkworm or
superworm.
something?
No, not a silkworm. But the thing is that I can't. There, so I don't think. I mean, like a what are those? Waxworm.
Mm-hmm. Do you think they would eat a waxworm?
No, they want they want reptiles. So that's why the chick down works really well.
But do chickens smell like reptiles smell?
Yeah, they are reptiles, right?
Yeah, I think they smell. I think they just smell
logistically.
like egg, right? If they smell like egg, I think everything kind of gets off on that egg smell.
Have you ever put a pinky into an egg, like a chicken egg, to make it smell like egg, and offered that? Does that
I've never
smell?
done that.
I've rubbed a pinky on a lizard.
Okay.
Yeah, I've definitely used the button quail, and then I've used button quail heads as well. If they're too big.
The chicken works the best, in my opinion.
Like a chicken, not a quail chick.
Like chicken.
Okay. Like domestic sound.
And chicken, like chicken liver, chicken.
Yeah, chicken liver, chicken meat.
Gizzards, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that because that animal is bigger and so it gets less freezer burnt taste? Or the quail just doesn't taste as good? Does like a baby quail not taste as chickeny?
No. So these are tiny. You're not feeding them a button quail.
Well, I mean a button quail head. You couldn't.
Yeah, I've done the button quail head. Yeah, I'll cut the thing because it comes off and like sometimes they come off in the bag. Right. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So,
right.
I feed mine pinkies.
Yeah, definitely. That was an old man back in the MVF days, boy. That was an argument right there.
So that was actually one of my favorite parts in the natural history is when they were talking about the caudal luring
of the babies.
Yeah. And but the adults will do it too.
Mm-hmm.
You think that's like a relictal behavior? Or
maybe because I swear to God, my female will do it when she's asleep. Like she sleeps caudal luring.
Oh, she's self-soothing.
Just sleeps and her like it's not like a vigorous. It's just like slowly. But if I reach in there sometimes and I'll like poke it and she snaps to like so fast where I'm like
funny.
Yeah,
they also seem to do it towards you, like more like once they get acclimated to like captivity. And they see you, they'll do it more because they know you feed them. Yeah, it's
100%. The babies, they learn really quick.
Yeah, and that's why I say when people say certain snakes are stupid, yeah,
right. They're not stupid.
No, none of them are. It's just they have different.
Call them stupid. I don't think they're stupid at all.
I hate it. I don't think any of them are. They just have different niches, so they just react different.
When I first put the male in this enclosure, the first couple nights he would post up over the water bowl, and I was like, "Oh, that's so cool! I wonder if that's like a natural behavior."
Oh yeah,
actually going to the water to try to find animal prey.
My wild ones do it all the time.
I started feeding him. And he stopped immediately and started posting up right on the side of the door where
where it comes.
And he's like waiting there, right there by the door when he's wanting food.
Yeah.
He like learned fast.
Yeah. As long as they don't have the fear, like I got one from Brian Fisher, this little Aru over here that I brought down. That thing was like it came from him. It was like, okay, you're my food monkey. Now this guy's my food monkey. Like 2 days, this thing was like locked in.
Mm-hmm.
But
and then the ones that I got two from Salisi, and his were like super scared. So it took almost a year for them to, chill out.
Yeah. So this is the funny part that I like. So they were talking about there was juveniles. They're housed next to an anole, like an anole species, and the anole saw the caudal luring through the glass, and the anole was trying to get through the glass to get to their tail. Mm-hmm. That's how well it works.
Yeah.
They know what's up. Was it weird that the females had a home range, but males did not.
No, definitely not. I don't think so.
I think that's like a standard thing, right?
For a lot of different species, right?
Where a lot of the species, the females, what do you mean by home range?
Page 20.
Like they stay in a certain area, but males will go out and find other areas?
Well, he didn't. He just says males wander through the forest. But that isn't actually true of a lot of species that have, I don't know, like resource niches that they have to defend because they're sit and wait predators. Usually the males will do that also. They just only breed with females that interact.
Right.
Yes. So like in rattlesnakes, they'll pick a game trail and sit on it just the same way the girls will. Because they have to, because that's their obligate choice. But they obviously run around when it's breeding time and try to find somebody to interact with.
I've noticed it in captivity though.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Females, they will just be as lazy as
lethargic. Yeah, they just sit there. Yeah.
Like I was saying, my male will they're cohabbed in there. Mm-hmm. My female likes a certain like 1.5 foot section of perch, and that's she'll like move that far over closer to the heat panel, but she likes to stay right there. In fact, if like she won't even, most of the time she won't even post up. Like she just will put her head forward to the perch that's like closer to the door and just leave her head right there, and that's how I know she wants food. Mm-hmm. But she won't even bother to move. She just moves when she has to go to the bathroom or shed. Or so after this season, after she laid her eggs, she didn't go back on food right away. And then when she finally did go back on food, I decided not to feed her a lot. And so she's been getting a small meal less often, like probably 1.5 meals, like a meal every 3 weeks. And she's a big green tree python, so she hasn't put on the weight, but I've been noticing that she's been now she's moving around more and posting up, like hanging down, like just like the male.
Mm-hmm. Well, there was a point in here where they described like the daily activities of a chondro, which is going up and down one tree typically at night. So they'll come down and hunt the floor at night as an adult, and they'll go back up and go back down. And they won't do that transaction if they're not hungry. They'll stay up. So then I was like, well, you should have a vertical cage. But then later on, they defend like a conventional, more horizontal space cage, so that you can have better temperature regulation. But I was like, well, you can have temperature regulation up and down, like the heat.
You can, but it's a lot harder.
But the thing is if they're going up 20 to 50 meters, so your 6 foot enclosure is nothing.
It's nothing, yeah.
Right, but a 2 by 2 by 3 rectangle is less vertical transacting. Like they can't perform the behavior of being fully upright or fully down.
Yeah. Well,
I just think that's captivity, right? You can't you can't have it perfect. I just think you trade off.
I was just like, tall vertical cage. No,
I've thought of doing it. I've also thought of doing like a I've seen people do like paludarium enclosures, and their green tree python will like swim and do. I mean, you could do all sorts of things, and having especially with arboreal species, that's why they're so fun, to keep, because they do a little bit more with their tree behavior.
Right.
I think the other problem is like when you get them, they're like, you get one, they're like potato chips. So you get more and more and more. So then when the problem is most people have a lot of them. And then when you start to do the space thing, then the little benefit that they may get, it doesn't really make sense for that situation. Now, if you
I have to agree with that, because I still have all of my first clutch except for 2. And I'm like, which ones I need to get rid of some of these. Which ones am I gonna let go? And I'm like, I can't let
Yeah,
any of them go.
Yeah,
What are they
I'm not trying to be like
doing
overly
years?
critical.
They're
No,
so
I
like-
get it. I get what
but
you're saying
like-
because I thought about it
like
too.
the difference in work between going from this 6-inch burst to this 6-inch burst, it is work. But I'm like, what if you shaved a foot off this way and added 2 feet this way,
Right.
and they had to work to go up and come back down to hunt each night? That'd be a much more athletic snake.
Yeah.
Well, so this enclosure is 4 by 3 by 2, and the
Mhm.
male, he does laps. But he also does other things besides move around. Because I don't totally agree. Like, I don't like telling people how to keep their stuff, and this is a good guideline. But I see my snakes bask, and one time my male, he sat under the heat because I accidentally put the perch back wrong, and it was too close to the heat panel. I was rushing and I wasn't paying attention, and I somehow got it so that it was like basically right next to the heat panel, and he went right to the center of that perch, right under the heat panel, and I was like, oh my God, he's practically touching the heat panel. And then I couldn't even get it out. At first I was like, I need to get it out and move him. And then I thought, well, he'll get hot and move away, and then I'll move the perch down. And he sat there for 2 days straight, and I tent gunned him.
There's
and
part
he
in
was
this.
102. He was 102 degrees.
Well,
He
this book
likes
thinks
fast
that the snakes are dumb, like diamonds, like diamond wasting disease is because the snakes are obsessed with getting hot because they're somewhere cold. They will burn themselves out metabolically because you have to keep it away from them. Are you disagreeing with that?
I think that it's important to tell people don't get your snakes too hot, because new keepers just think, oh, they need to be 90 degree basking spot, and then they make their whole enclosure 90 degrees.
Mhm.
That's the problem, I think. I don't agree.
Do you think a diamond python, I know we're not supposed to be talking about diamond python, is hurting itself by wanting to warm up biologically so much? Like a person eating a high fat, high salt, high sugar meal. Like you can't resist
definitely.
the metabolic temptation of heat.
But that's what I'm saying, is that I don't think that they were giving them a choice. That's what it was.
But it's like this. What about if we switch it to food? If you give them a choice, they'll just keep eating and keep eating and keep eating. So they're not, because I feel like because nature is so harsh, right? That captivity, when they get into captivity, sometimes they don't. They're just going to overdo it, right? Because nature is so harsh that when they get all of this, they'll just keep going. And I feel like heat is probably a thing too, like you're saying with the diamonds, right? If you're going to sit there and provide it with them, they're just going to sit there and,
And then I think about Tom Crutchfield and his diamonds. And I saw a video of him temp gunning his diamonds. He kept them outside.
Right.
They would go bask and get themselves really, 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 really hot. Early in the morning, they'd go out and bask. Right. Get really, really, really hot. Kind of like how my male because even though like they talk about in this book about the canopy being, under the canopy, it never gets above this 82. And
right.
And like, okay, that is true. But when you step outside of the canopy, these snakes are on the equator. I don't know if I've never been to the equator, so I only know that when I'm in Hawaii, I burn so fast. So I can only imagine that if a snake just basks for like a minute or two, just the very
they don't need much. Yeah.
They could get really hot, a lot hotter than under the canopy. Or if they're talking about when they walk in from the sun to under the canopy in the rainforest, they're talking about the floor. These snakes aren't staying on the floor. They go 20 to 30 meters up. And if you Google what is the temperature range of a rainforest, like from the bottom of the floor up to the top of the understory, you're getting hotter than what the floor is.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even have to.
Do you think they're being a little conservative with their temperature?
I think that they are, because I think that is one of the things that people were that were harming their snakes because if you go into any of the Facebook groups, the problem is you see the new keepers, they get their snake, they put a light bulb over it in a dust, and they get dry, they get too hot, they won't eat, they're angry. Like green tree pythons are actually pretty mellow animals.
Yeah, it's the problem's not the temperature; it's the fact that they can't get away from it, right? So, like
That's
in the wild, it's the fact that they can go back under the understory, they can go down, they can go in a tree hollow after they get 100 degrees.
They talk about breeding. That's why I say that you need both books, because they talk about breeding in that baseline ambient, never offering basking spots. But I found it very hard I tried breeding her for like 2 seasons in the ambient and keeping her in that low 80, just doing food cycling, and she would breed, but then she would not ovulate. I would feed her, she would start to, like, you could tell she was developing, she was gaining weight in the right places, and then she would lock up, and then she would just go off food and then stay off food until she shed. And then you're like, oh, well, she's not going to.
So you think.
But they did say that pregnant females need heat, though. They did.
Right, but she's talking about like
ovulate.
To get follicular growth.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
I've watched what she does. She will stay on the cool side. And then when she's getting ready to ovulate, she'll go bask. And like once I start seeing her bask, and she just basks for a little while, it'll be in the morning. She'll go like next to the heat panel. And she'll bask for a little while, then she'll go back to her favorite spot, and then she'll do that a few times, and I know, oh, she's gonna ovulate, and then she does. That's what she does. It's almost like that heat triggers her.
Mm-hmm. I believe it. I think even climax community ecosystems, which is what they're talking about, is like where green tree pythons adults live, still have mosaic breaks in the forest, patches of sun. So it's not like the snakes would be incapable of finding a thermoregulatory choice.
Right.
Up and down the tree.
Though, I do keep them a little cooler. Like I don't really offer them the higher heat.
Well, supposedly the babies are
get hotter
edges during the day, so like they should technically be able to tolerate it.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is that you would think that in the wild they're in that they stay on the edges where the lizards are, so they're probably in the wild getting hot.
The other thing I thought was interesting is they talked about like they detected the prey items less than they detected snakes. So they're like, they can barely ever eat because there's almost no prey. And I'm like, well, you're a big monkey stomping around the forest.
Or
like,
maybe they ate all the prey.
Right. I was like, you don't know how many times they're eating based on how much a person, not necessarily doing transects or pitfall traps, is detecting the rodent. And I was like, I don't know how much they eat, but like, that wouldn't be why I would think.
I feel dubious even of like Daniel Natusch's paper saying that they're that small. Because I'm like, there might be a bias in the animals that, like, they don't ever talk about in that paper how much does a gravid female weigh on average. That's what I want to know.
But also the Southerns, the Southerns are a little smaller, right, as well.
Yeah, but I think that some of Daniel Natusch's, like not his tax, because I think one of the things is they did the Arboreal Symposium. Did you get to go to that?
No, I didn't go to that one. No, I remember it though.
Because he went to that and he kind of caused an uproar when he said that they were so small in the wild.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think everything is nuanced, right? Like, I think that captivity is probably the major contributing factor. I mean, just like any other species, there's going to be larger individuals, right? And it's going to range. I mean, I'm not going to sit up here and say that you're not going to see that you can never find a 6-foot wild chondro, but it's also not probably going to be 1,800 grams, right? It's going to be skinny, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
and look like a
right,
little,
with a big old head. Right?
yeah, or
So
just like have all these jelly rolls and like,
yeah, it's not gonna it's not gonna have that.
and its tail hanging down.
Right. And like piles of shit inside of it like that. You could see like I don't see like how people didn't see it then. Like when I first got them, I didn't feed them hardly any, and that was back then when they were saying feeding it. Like I knew, like I was a mouser, right, where everybody else was rats. Like it was two groups back then. It was you either feed rats like Greg Maxwell, or you feed mice like the people that were Terry Phillip and people like that. And
Or
it's
maybe
like,
the starving ones are easier to catch.
yeah, maybe that's because they're always down, right? Because they're down low. That could be that
Right,
too.
they're always hunting so that you would
Always
encounter them more. But the good, juicy
successful
ones
guys
are
are.
already up there chilling. Yeah. The other thing I thought was interesting was that white goes away in captivity.
What do you mean by that?
At some point, he says, like, if you breed high white parents to high white parents, the babies are less and less white through time. And he alludes to an epigenetic change, which maybe is the difference between captive keeping and wild animals. And it could be either ultraviolet light or something that the prey items eat.
Well, I don't think that's set yet.
That was a
right?
popular topic back then, and I think it's been disproven.
Debunked.
Yeah.
All right, we'll debunk it for me.
Yeah, debunked. Ryan Young debunked it. He's been able to reproduce high white animals. It's just a polygenetic trait that is hard to reproduce.
So like this one, it just started turning white, and I wouldn't necessarily call it high white right now, but that's an F1 from Brian
I
Fisher.
think Ryan is the one that described it this way. So you need like 5 genes to get the white.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And there's all different genes. Like one might have these 5 genes and another one might have these 5 genes. But if only this much of the genes connect from the mother and the father, then you're only going to get like that much. You need them to be like more. That's why you need the F2. If you're going to try to breed for that phenotype, you need the F2s. Mm-hmm. Like you would start out with 2 high white parents, and then the babies might not be high white because the genes aren't aligned. They don't carry the same trait. Right. I don't know. I'm not.
But they also could too. It's just not that. I just feel like it's not enough sample size. Right? Yeah, I just feel like it's not enough sample size.
It's the F2s when you start seeing it, and then you could keep going and get better and better.
Yeah.
But also, what's interesting about ring tree pythons is in the wild they have these really like emerald green colors, and that also is not seen as often in captivity.
Do you think? I know you're speculating here. That's like a carotenoid deficiency ?
Or maybe I don't know.
I just feel like being outside in the sun hardens them up, no matter what they are. Like the bredeli, they look way different. That wild bredeli look way different than captive bredeli, right? And I don't give a shit.
I'm wondering if it might have something to do with our preference. Like we're selecting for certain looks, and that they make these lighter green snakes more often.
Maybe. But I mean,
do you think they get a tan, Wilson? Like they get enough ultraviolet radiation, they get tanned up, so they're darker.
Yeah, I feel like the sun hardens all snakes up. They even feel.
I think the sun makes the green go away. Actually, it makes it turn blue.
You think?
Yeah, sunburn them.
Oh, so sunburn.
I've seen wild ones where they'll have like
to the skin,
like a bruise, or like a mark. The yellow, because you need the yellow and the blue to make the green. It seems like the yellow will get damaged really easy.
Yeah, like when rough green snakes die.
Or like
the second they die, they turn blue because the carotenoid.
The females when they do the hormonal blue, the yellow goes away.
So Do you think the darker ones are neither green nor blue, but melanin?
No, I'm talking about there. So that they do have melanin, and that's different.
Right, but like to get a robust green, is it really just a sheen of melanin over top, or do you think it's more like a darker blue that's adding to yellow? That's getting it.
Yeah, they're darker.
They're,
But everybody likes those light blues, and they are trying for the certain types of. I don't know. Some of my babies are really dark green. I'm like, these things are so freaking green, dude. They look like emerald tree. They're green.
Do you think they're gonna grow out of that and into the like lime soda?
No,
I definitely think that. So I definitely think that there's different greens in different localities, and it varies greatly. I feel like.
Yeah, they mix them up, so they end up getting this like generic like green color. Maybe that's.
Do you think that Maruki should be called Maruki adjacent? Like, have they started renaming? Speaking of locality problems, because none of them were actually captured in Maruki. Do people call them Marukis now? They just call them Southerns.
Yeah, some people still call them Marukis.
Maruki is like the generic term for a Southern.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. I don't think people actually think they're from Maruki.
Right. That's what he says in the book.
Right. But I don't think anybody would call a Maruki a chondro that was a Southern chondro that didn't have that stripe a Maruki either. So that's part of it too, right?
I watched Dan's video, and then I didn't comment because I don't comment anywhere. I comment here. And then I just heard all the arguing in the comments about like that tail color's wrong. Those ones never have that tail color. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. But I'm like, if he imported them, wouldn't he be the most likely to know? But I know he's not perfect because who knows where it was captured and what was on the paperwork, blah, blah, blah.
I would believe the people.
Do you believe the people that like a black tail tip can never come from X locality?
So,
you know what I mean? Like, what if that locality has both tail tips?
Right, that's what I'm saying. Know. So there's an issue with that too, because a lot of times they'll have the black tail, and then once they're 8 years old, it'll go away, and you'll have this baby blue underneath of it in certain locations. So it's like, I get it if you're talking about like young animals to try and differentiate what species it is. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't necessarily say it's 100% foolproof, right? Like it's still too small of a sample size for us to say anything is 100% foolproof.
It's going off of what the paper said and with experience. People like Harlan Wall that commented. I think that he might have gotten it backwards. That's
Dan got it backwards or Harlan? Yeah. Okay, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to mix things up. He probably just did.
I think he just got it back. He said it backwards.
Okay. Right. That's okay. I was just like, oh no, I gotta go. I gotta be out of this comment section right now because I don't know anything about it.
That's why I like the Beox and the Arus, because they're very easy to ID.
Right.
I'm very rarely stumped like, what is this one? The other thing is that the farms are known also to interbreed the different species. So you could get a farm bred animal and they might sell it as.
But that was back when Vladimir was doing it, right? Like now, I don't even think the farms, except for this new one that just popped up, right? There was a time period where there was no.
I mean, there's only one farm that's open about what they're doing.
Right.
We don't know what the other farms are doing. They might be buying snakes from people that are breeding them in Indonesia.
Yeah, well, maybe. But I just feel like the easier way is to just take the pregnant females or take the babies when it's hatchling season and stuff like that.
Well, they're not supposed to do that because they're protected.
Yeah, but right.
But it might be easier to buy the snakes from the people in Indonesia.
Right.
Back to the book. There are nice temperature and rainfall graphs of different locations. And we know that's not the end-all be-all, but I thought it was a nice include. You don't always get that.
My other favorite part of the book, since we were kind of talking about it, is how he shows that there's all these really cool picture graphs, or not graphs, but collages of different phenotypes, and how just because an animal has a certain phenotype, you can't just say, oh, that phenotype goes to this area, because it shows like, oh, look, they all have white. All of the localities and species have high white. They all can have high blue. They can all have high yellow. It shows like examples from each locality showing the similar phenotypes.
Right.
Right. Well, that's what I was worried about with the tail business. I'm like, I don't
Right.
know. Like, how the fuck do I know?
But there are other morphological differences too, like the length of the snout and things like that, where you could look at instead of just color.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of snout length, we talked about the sexual dimorphism in adult head structure between males and females, implying that they choose different prey items as they mature. And then but he didn't say what. Does anybody want to venture a guess?
Like, I'm never going to say that I'm right or like whatever, but I do have a funny feeling that they get more lizards than we think. Because when you feed a snake a lizard, not only that, I mean, it shits it out really quick, right? And it's like,
Do you think they eat lizards, like males eat more lizards and females eat more rodents?
That's,
and that's why
thinking.
the males have longer
schnozzes.
Exactly.
Okay. Exactly. That's what I kind of think.
I think that the heads,
not that they won't eat the
variable.
Mice, but,
even if within species, like within a clutch, you can get animals with like different shaped heads.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Right.
But I don't know. It said there's a gender bias.
You could say that a Biak head is definitely different than an Aru head, though, right? The Aru head is like really short, stubby. You know,
you think Arus don't eat as many lizards as adults?
I just think it's some type of different different situation on that island that, you know, and then Biaks, I feel like they need to get bigger because my personal feeling is they are a bigger part of the food chain on Biak. I think that's also the reason why they may be so damn nasty, and they more prolific because the young get eaten more by other things. So I think
they eat more birds there than, I don't know.
I don't know about that. I'm just saying I think that they are more predated on that island, and therefore
what is the next
bigger
step up the food chain on that island? I don't even know. A monitor?
I mean, yeah, monitors, birds, everything eats them. Other snakes,
right? But mainland Australia is full of predators that would eat them. So, like, those are the little most cute guys around.
Yeah.
I was all excited. I had a Biak female that I raised up, and I was like, I'm gonna breed her small. They say that they do this small, so I got her to about a little, like, she wasn't tiny. She was like between 870 and 890 grams.
Mm-hmm.
And she was putting on the weight, eating the mice. And it was early in the season, like in the fall. And I thought, well, I'm going to introduce the male, see what happens. And they locked up right away. And I kept them together for a while. And then I separated them and I tried to feed her. And she went off food. And I kept trying to feed her, and she just kept growing her follicles. Like, you could see her follicles growing. And while her little head started getting sunken in, her neck started getting sunken in. She started getting skinny looking. She refused to eat. And then she ovulated and died. So that's why I'm like, you know what?
How old was she?
That they're supposed to be small, but I don't know if I 100% agree with that. But
was she like 5 years old or 3?
She was wild caught. She was like around 4.
Okay. Because they do have a growth chart in here, like days to a particular weight. So
after she died, I stretched her out, and I can't remember. I measured her. She was really long. And I got the impression that I don't know why she went off food, but it was like she was putting energy into eggs and into growth. She wasn't ready. I shouldn't have bred her. Like, I really regretted that, and that's why I push back when they talk about the small chondros.
Well, do you think that's a locality specific issue for that locality, or do you think it's that animal's personal? You know, dumbbell pythons, they come out every size on the earth.
I would not want to. I'm gonna make sure that my females have some good body size. And
what does that mean to you? Is there like a mom bod vibe?
Like, I'm
in
gonna
a mature female chondro.
I want to see her. Yeah, I want to see a booty on that girl. That's it.
And a big head, like, you know what I mean? Like, in boas, you can almost tell when they're sexually mature because the female's heads get wide.
Head. She didn't have a tiny head. Like, it wasn't like that. It was just, I think she was immature. She wasn't ready. I should have waited another year, gotten her bigger.
Okay.
I wanted to see if the point was a thing, and I'm not going to do
it. It could have may not been your fault either, though. It could be just like, so do you all think that every snake that is born is fit to go through the whole life cycle, reproduce, all this thing? I don't necessarily feel that way.
I don't think that, but I also don't think that female, I think that female would have been an excellent breeder. She wanted to breed. Like, her body, I just pushed it too soon.
Okay.
But don't you think in the wild someone would have had sex with her anyway?
Maybe, but you know.
Okay, I have a new question. Since we're talking about
in a little box.
Do you think these snakes, or maybe all snakes, question mark, I don't know, should be getting bred for the first time in easy mode where they're not that big yet? They have a small clutch. They ovulate a little bit. And so they don't have a big bolus of calories they have to shunt around. So if they have like a 3-age clutch as a 3-year-old, they take a year off. Then when they're 5, in the wild, they have 10. Because this happens in goats. And I know these aren't the same thing, but hear me out. If you don't breed a goat when she's basically 6 months old, 6 to 9 months old, the first time, it can be okay. But sometimes they're so over-conditioned, even if they're not fat, they got so big that the baby, the kid, is too big for her body to pass if she breeds on her second year. And so I keep thinking about that for snakes. Like, are we waiting so long that their hoo-has and digestive and everything isn't geared to be on the normal rhythm? Like, are we supposed to be breeding them when they're 3, which sounds gross?
I just don't know why she refused to eat.
Well, maybe she had something else wrong with her. Just full stop, because it's just one snake. Like that snake who had the exploding oviducts in Australia in that video that I think about a lot. The chondro where she ovulated once, the follicles were floating in her body cavity, and then she ovulated again, and because they have to like pass through like a little nothing, like big follicles ovulate down.
I mean, a lot of things have to go right for you to get, you know what I mean, a good clutch.
I feel the opposite. I feel like I've had better success waiting.
That's fine. I just don't know sometimes because I'm like,
well, I feel like waiting in pythons and boas is definitely probably better, right? Because I think that we're getting these snakes, even if we're getting wild caught ones, we're getting them young, right? And we're growing them up way faster than I believe they would have in the wild, right? So they may get.
You think they hit 5 years old and a breeding weight at the same time? They don't hit a breeding weight.
Correct. That's what I think. You mean in the wild, right? That's what I'm thinking. So like, yeah. So at 3 years old, they're not getting bred, right? Because their pheromones aren't kicked in, and them male snakes ain't chasing them. But
I think that female, if I would have waited, she would have been over the typical weight.
Right. If you fed on a schedule, like a captive schedule, she probably would have been, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's all pretty weird. I just know, like, in some species, if they're over conditioned the first time they breed, this is especially true in colubrids, which I think are kind of obligate seasonal breeders in some ways. Like they will way overdo it. 20 eggs, she's barely able to ovulate them all because she's sort of pent up.
Right.
Even if she's not that fat, like I'd rather kind of breed them lean, get a smaller clutch each year than a gigantor double clutch blowout special when she's 6 years old because she was never bred.
The other
just
thing,
safer.
Yeah, the other thing that would to add to your argument is that if a female in the wild waits too long and gets really big, she might outgrow her environment's ability to provide her enough food to ever ovulate, because she would need to eat so much more when she's bigger.
Right. And this is a problem in like imperator boas too. Like we used to grow them up gigantic. And you can argue which size is right. But now that we grow them up a little slower, and you can still kind of breed them at 3 or 4 or whatever, they're just smaller. They have less babies the first time. I feel like that's kind of more natural. Instead of waiting till they're 10 or something to breed them. I don't know. Like
I like this photo in the book with the fat photo. Like sometimes you wouldn't even think that the snake is as fat as it is, but when you cut it open, it's just like ridiculous. So I think that it's definitely
right. I've had snakes die for various reasons, and my goal, I don't know how you would determine this, is to have the fat in the lower third of the snake, not around the organs,
right,
and definitely not in the neck.
Right.
And a snake
when they get like a double chin.
And a snake that only has fat in the lower third of the body is not a thick snake by any stretch of the imagination, the way we think about it.
Right. Those are kind of like reserves. Right.
Yeah, they kind of look skinny. Like some people might be like, you're abusing that boa or whatever. Because like the front of it has like definition, and it isn't just loaf shaped. They can have fat in them and still be loaf shaped with boas.
A smaller snake might be able to breed more often too.
Yes, they don't have to claw back as many calories. So then, like, I don't know the answer for chondros, obviously, but sometimes I'm like, well, when they gotta go, they gotta go. If they're gonna go, I'd rather have them do it young, kind of stay smaller terminal size. Have a 10.
I don't know. I've had that. I'm never going to do that.
Okay, don't do it. Like for boas that I keep in particular, I don't know if there's a big advantage to like holding off and holding off and holding off.
Right.
I think just breed them. If they want to go, they go. If they don't, they don't. Want boa land, they just don't.
Yeah, she was awesome. She was a yellow Neo-Biak, and she was the sweetest. Like everyone says Biaks are so mean, but she was like the sweetest chondro. She acted like calmer than my male Aru did.
Sorry about your snake. I just wonder if there was something else wrong with her and you didn't actually make that bad of a decision.
Idea of breeding small females.
Like I breed small.
If you want to, you can, but
boa, like ball pythons, and I breed giant ones, and they're just like, fuck you, I don't want to breed, or I do, and it seems to be fine.
The females act different. Like Pearl, my white lip python, she is fertile myrtle. If I start feeding her, she immediately starts developing follicles. Like you can just see it. Like she puts on the weight, and then my other female, Dreamy, she's you could tell that she's just not, her body isn't as into it.
Well, do you think your fertile myrtle was bred? What age was she bred the first time? If you know, question mark.
I'm guessing that she was like 2, maybe when I got her.
So she was what age when you bred her?
And I had her for like 5 years.
You bred her.
She bred.
Before she bred. All right. Well, I believe you.
So I got a pair of uterensis upstairs that I've had for going on like a year and a half now. And they came in as adults pretty much. She came in at like 6. She's now like 750. I'm going to pair them up this coming up. Like, I just feel like she's old enough that the size doesn't matter. That's what I feel like.
Yeah.
What do we think is the terminal age for a captive Grecian python that wasn't overfed? Because in here they're talking about 20 years in the wild. What if
I
they
think it'd
never
probably be
were
different
eaten?
from male and female. And then if they never bred,
they don't live as long as ball pythons.
yeah, I would probably say, because there's definitely been ones that went over 25, right? So, but that I would say average is probably somewhere between 16 and 22, probably something like that.
For a male.
Yeah, but she said not being bred at all, so it wouldn't matter at that point.
Yeah, just like, do you think? But you think they
fed properly and
fed properly? They don't live as long as other python species.
They don't seem to.
Okay, it is interesting with ball pythons because they talk about how, I don't know, there was a point where they're like clutch mass didn't increase with more food. They were going to ovulate the amount that we're going to ovulate in terms of mass either way. And so like ball pythons do seem to tolerate our bullshit where we like overfeed them. I don't know why, but then they'll like starve themselves for 3 years.
Right.
And so like whatever is metabolically turn on and offable about a ball python is very ball python specific in pythons. And so that maybe makes them live to 60 because they're like, fuck it, I guess it's a desert.
Yeah,
it's a drought for 3 years. Fuck you.
Yeah, that's a good point. They do, like, they kind of hibernate.
Yeah. So, but a chondro is not that kind of python because it lives in a beautiful rainforest and it has a seasonal cycle, but it doesn't expect a drought for 3 years to come.
Right. I think they're a little bit more live fast, die hard than a ball python, right? Die quick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they lay pretty big clutches compared to a ball python too.
Right.
Have you ever read, this wasn't mentioned in the book, have you ever read a paper that tried to figure out what the cohort survival is in wild baby chondros? Like how many survive to the next year of a set?
Yeah. I've never.
They don't even know.
No, they don't. Yeah. No.
They've never even found a nest.
Oh, I did read that and I was like, brother, we got problems. Because like, okay, let's speculate wildly. Where do you think female chondros lay their eggs and incubate them?
On the ground, I think.
Yeah.
Under a log?
No, I said on the ground. Yeah.
I know. I'm just asking, like on the ground under a log, or just on the open under the ground.
Maybe like
under a bunch of leaves,
leaf litter at the trunk, at the base of a tree, something like that. Yeah.
With a bunch of moss and ferns and stuff, but near the sun, like an opening in the sun, like where there's sun, so the babies can eat.
Do they do facultative thermogenesis? I don't even know. Tell me.
I don't. Wait, do they? Because I thought they said only Burmese pythons, and like very few actually do it.
Yes, very few do actually.
Yeah.
I just don't know if
python,
if they are exposed to like really cold temperatures, which they are, according to this book, like sometimes in the night it can be 50 degrees where chondros live.
But if that's why, if they're all under that leaf litter and all that, bio, like it's going to be warmer under there.
Right. It keeps it insulated. Yeah. And then their original body heat, it's not like they lose heat that quick, right? Like I'm constantly temp gunning, because I like to maternally incubate stuff. So it's interesting, it'll be nighttime and it's 75 in the room and the eggs are still at 86.5, right, until the morning. So it's like, and she has a spot of like, I put the spot on like 81, 82. So she's still doing something.
Yeah. It's near the sun. There's probably, I'm imagining leaf litter. I'm imagining like a kind of like a composting heat. And when the sun hits it, it probably generates she's probably not, it's probably fine. She did like where she is. I'm thinking she's nice and warm and
Yeah.
doesn't need to do
And
that.
doesn't need to evolve.
And then I think the
Temperature.
eggs are probably a little bit more durable than we think. Like past like the first maybe like 15 to 20 days, I think they can definitely take a little bit of a nighttime drop, no problem.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So yeah.
So the cover of the book is a really nice green, emerald green snake, and that's what I was talking about. Is it's hard to find that in captivity.
Is that like photo quality or camera processing though? I'm always
Well,
Maybe.
I know what she's saying though,
Maybe.
because there's other ones where you see like a wild Aussie chondro and it's like fucking glowing, right?
Mhm.
It looks fluorescent. I know what she's saying. It could be a captivity thing. It could be because that probably is a wild chondro, right? Yeah, that definitely.
Well, I'm thinking of like the Southerns, especially like not the Australian Southerns,
Mhm.
but like I've seen pictures in the this one. There's a snake that's like emerald green and then has like the like dark blue diamonds going down its back. And then sometimes the Arus, especially, I think Maruki do it a little too. They get this really dark green stripe down their back, but I don't know if that's like something that fades with captivity. But I've heard people say that. That's what I'm saying. I haven't experienced it. I'm just saying I've heard people say that.
You know how they used to like complain about there's no old school blood red corn snakes?
Mhm.
I am starting to come around to like I think the photographs are fucked up from a long time ago. Because
Yeah.
like yeah, it looks good and really like weirdly saturated. And I'm like,
We're trying to get something that never
existed. And
Yeah.
and the only other explanation is like the
They
older
get
school lineages had more melanin wash, so you will put melanin on top of whatever. But
Mhm.
even a super red factor is not truly red like that. It's like
But
a
didn't they
red
have fertility issues though, too?
Yeah, and they were like runty, and they all wanted to eat lizards, and they were
Right.
feral, and I think the pictures are deceiving people. They're like, I want one that's like dried blood red. And I'm like, fuck, dude, I don't know if that exists. I don't know if it ever existed.
Got you.
On God, brother.
Well,
Sorry.
that's a nice looking snake on the cover. That's
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of nice
It's a
pictures.
good picture.
There's also little like accounts in the book of adventures, which I thought was fun. They
Oh,
went to-
what about this? They made a point that I thought was interesting about the so the wild green tree pythons, they get all these
Cysts.
subdermal cysts, like parasite cysts, and they were saying that people think that maybe it's from frogs, but then they said, well, animals that are known to eat frogs like Antaresia don't get those, so they don't know where they're actually coming from.
Well, what if they ate the frog on accident and they're like the wrong secondary host? And so the worm is like, fuck, dude, I don't know where to go. And so it just insists.
Or maybe the
But
Antaresia built up a
is
resistance
that
to them.
different?
It could be that too. Because they eat them so much on
Right. It shouldn't be that different. But like, when we eat like pork flukes, those flukes don't know where to go. They're like, this place is lame.
Gross.
They go right to our
Never
brain.
eating pork again.
It's kind of a mess.
But yeah, it definitely could be from something else that they're eating that's not frogs.
Right, where they're the wrong host, and then it's just like I don't know where to go, and they are in like a nasty jungle full of all kinds of goodies, parasites in every food item. So like,
but it's bad if you watch any videos of where they're in Australia, like, oh look at it, we found this green tree python, and it just has bumps all over it.
Is it mostly Australian ones, or is it also in other?
No, I've seen it in the wild caught ones, too, the ones that we get in the hobby.
Okay, gross.
Yeah,
I've seen people pull worms out of them, and I feel like that's gross.
I watched that video of that too. It's disgusting.
Should we talk about pricing? Because I feel like the book missed out on that.
Do you think
Maybe 'cause he didn't wanna
pricing
touch it.
was a problem in 2017 that he overlooked it, or do you think this is us in 2026 now looking back being like, listen, brother? Or what do you think? What do you go with that?
I mean, I don't know. I kind of think like
They talked about it a little bit, why people would want to go to wild caught.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. Yeah, definitely. That part. Yeah. I don't know. What was your question again, Jessica? What were you saying?
Oh, like it's hard to, I don't know, look at a book that's 10 years old and be like, you didn't talk about all these things that are a problem today. Many things have happened since then. But
I think
what was the price of chondros then? Weren't they still fucking expensive?
Been a little bit issue. No. I guess you gotta take into the factor inflation, right? So like the one chondro that I'm gonna give you an example. I bought a Jayapur to Biak from Kathy Maynard, right? It was $450, right?
Mm-hmm.
Back then,
that price,
right? But
what year did you buy it? I'll do a inflation calculator.
It was a 06.
Okay.
So now I feel like that would have been a $1,200 animal, right? Which I feel is still appropriately priced.
So you bought it for $450?
Mm-hmm.
So in April, today, right now, in $2006, that would be $755.
Okay.
But you think it should be $1,200 now?
Yeah, I think it should. Yeah, and then my first chondros that I bought at the Hamburg show. So next to the table next to him, it was Dan Schaefer. The table next to him had wild caught chondros on it, and they were selling them at the time for anywhere between $250 and $350, and he was selling his for $500. So it's like back then, I feel like
$250 price then would be $420 now,
right? And that's pretty much
kind of what it is.
What it is, right?
So we have inflation in the extra hobby inflation of the CB prices.
And then I also think we have people that have always tried to, get over on people and charge more than, have pictures of snakes that are going through OCC and use them as the adult picture, things like that's always happened, right? So,
well, they did bring up an interesting point here in the book about labeling hybrids, because they showed a picture of a wall. Do you think snakes that are 4-way cross hybrids should be labeled on Morph Market as hybrids with some sort of tag?
Yes, because new people don't understand, right? A lot of them still think that it's just like I'm breeding a corn snake from the Pine Barrens to one from Miami. Well, it's not that, right? So
it's a big difference. They're more different from each other than we are from chimpanzees or
are they what about the boas though?
Yeah, maybe they should be too.
But
what do you mean?
Like boa imperator, boa sigma crosses.
Yeah, I mean they are
leopards.
Yeah. I mean I have them, and that's what I'm saying.
It reminds me of the boas. Like this is not like a species. This is just a generic. Like this is a boa constrictor. I'm doing this project with it. And
there's nothing wrong with it, but I think that they should be labeled, right? Just like the boas, I think they should be labeled.
I don't know if there's like a polite way to do it, but just be like, this is mutt, like a mutt tag. Like it's mostly imperator or mostly azurius, but
right. So my boas, but my boas, I call them hobby boas. Like you could call them hobby chondros. I don't, what I mean?
That's more polite.
I feel like if you label it, you would label it if you had like a pure species.
Right, but I feel like it should be labeled just because people then change and they'll just be like, oh, well, this looks like this, so this is what it is, right? So they got to be labeled. Like,
well, on Morph Market, how do they label it now? Just like they're all the same.
They're just green tree pythons.
Okay, they're all in the cat. They're not. There's no differentiation between the species.
And then each ad differentiates if they want to, or whatever.
Would it be? I think that would be very fair to be like, if you don't know the locality or whatever, just be like hobby chondro,
Right.
But I don't know what it is. And it's still a
Right.
cool snake.
Right. It's still a cool snake. You know, a baby should still be, I would say, anywhere between $750 and $1,000, and
I remember,
depending on what the, you know, unless it's something different, like a designer, like a real designer.
yeah,
Not like,
I remember they used to talk about it on the GTP Keeper radio, and it doesn't seem like it's been a thing anymore. Is Buddy and Bill used to talk about, maybe it was more Buddy, maybe that's why I don't hear Bill talk about it, but that it's good that people want to breed. You can breed just like a hobby chondro, or just do like, not every chondro needs to be $5,000 to $10,000, or I don't even know how much it costs, because I'm not in the market for those.
And on top of that, most of the ones that are sold for that don't necessarily, you couldn't tell that by looking at them once they're done their OCC at 5-6 years old, right? A lot of them, it's kind of like a lottery ticket, right?
But the that's OCC is what they're selling. That's,
right.
If you have a fancy OCC, then you do have a lottery ticket. They don't care what it looks like. They care what the OCC looks like.
Right, but does the customer really know that though? That's the thing. Does
they
every
do,
customer
because they're
know
buying the pedigree. They want the pedigree.
Gotcha.
They're paying for the pedigree.
But don't you think that they think that they're going to definitely, or at least have a high chance of getting it with the babies?
They say, look at this pedigree. They'll post the coon snake and then be like, look at the pedigree.
Right, but I'm saying that person buys it thinking that the babies that they produce are going to then give them that look, right? Don't you think that's
it might? It could.
It could, but I mean, how many times?
I feel like these days, it's more common now too. Like it used to be more like a lottery ticket, and I feel like you see a lot of really. There was like it was more rare to see that like really crazy looking phenotype with tons of black or lots of blue. Like you see a lot of blue snakes now, and you see a lot of like animals that hold on to a good amount.
Right. But don't you think that's because they're coming from some people that are putting blues to blues? Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is that, like, yeah.
But I don't think that what I'm trying to say is, like, if you took a blue line that was green
and bred it to a B
and bred it to a B, yeah, you're not. That's what I'm saying is like that
a
part
red
doesn't
too.
Right. That part doesn't really make sense to me. Right. It's like now you're just trying to make chondros because you don't know what you're getting. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that's part of the fun of it too.
Yeah.
If that's what you're into, even there's this one Aru that this guy, I don't know if he's in Thailand or he's in Indonesia, I think. He has an Aru that it went through its OCC and it went blue, but it also has a black stripe down its back. So it has black, white, and blue. Looks freaking awesome.
Right. And what you should do with that is breed it to another Aru and then dad and mom and stuff like that.
Yeah,
right.
I would breed it to an Aru. I don't think he ever got it. I don't know if he ever got it to breed.
But see, in the way the hobby is now, everybody's trying to hit, not everybody, but some people are trying to hit that lottery ticket. And I feel like they try and breed it to some thing with a whole bunch of pedigree. And it's just like,
yeah,
you could definitely have a more defined direction.
I mean, I get it. If you have a certain budget, not everyone can afford $5,000, $8,000, or and the other thing is we don't know the sex when we get them. So
right.
you buy the expensive snake and then you get a bunch of cheap snakes and hopefully you get a pair.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I would rather not do that. That's what I'm trying to say. I think that it's more value to get like the actual species and try to go in a direction.
And right? I mean, but yeah, I agree with. I mean, I don't have the budget to buy these expensive chondros, anyways. And honestly, they're not even.
I wouldn't want them. Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think that, and it's not. It's just my opinion. I'm not saying that they're not valuable, but to take that chance, it just doesn't make sense to me when you don't really know the direction. Because I remember back in the day, like certain lines, they would pop out all types of crazy stuff.
But the thing is that you still have that pedigree,
right?
That you can sell to someone else. You still have it. So you can say this snake has this pedigree.
But you also like, yeah, but I guess you still have to buy into it because I guess I don't.
Yeah, you
anymore.
still need to produce at least one really nice snake. So you can
Right.
say, my snake has this pedigree and it made this snake. So
And this is coming from somebody that like, so that snake that I was telling you about with Kathy Maynard, that snake turned into the most craziest high yellow chondro you ever see. And I sold it to Ben Evans. He then bred it twice and was getting high yellows. I think he bred it to a Biak or something like that. So I see that it could happen. It's just like, it's just so random and so not likely to happen if you just do it like the cheap
I think it's happening more and more. I think that they're all like inbred and they all have the genes now. So
right. So that
more, I think.
But that's if you're breeding.
It is good that they're outcrossing it. You know, it's good because it might, you know, die. They might end up with a super inbred line that can never reproduce. So,
do they think it's recessive?
Yeah, that's the weird thing is that we don't. It's not like it's all. It seems like it's all polygenetics.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Is like there's no real way to say, oh, I'm going to go this direction. Like with those calicos, you'll get some that look this way, that way. Sometimes they'll pop out blue ones. Like it just doesn't. I just feel like there's less of a defined path, unless you're talking about you got two super blues and you're breeding super blues, right, or something like that. But
yeah,
you know what this reminds me of?
Boas,
crested geckos,
right? Because it's all poly, yeah.
Right, and Hare. Y'all ever listen to Hare and AJ's podcast?
The thing about crested geckos is that I kind of think they all look the same.
Right. Well, they like during the COVID, there was a lot of like, well, it's from this line, so it will have the trait maybe hidden polygenically of whatever snowflake or whatever polygenic trait that they all know is polygenic. But it turns out some of those are whiffs, and they can be expensive whiffs if you're buying on lineage. Right. And so Hare was talking about that on live. He's like, yeah, turns out none of those ever worked out. And if I bred it to one with that trait or whatever he was looking for, the babies were all just as bad as the non-trait specific mom. So I think it's polygenics like this.
I think it is because, like I said, that you're not only paying for what it looks like in as adult, you're paying also for that ontogenetic color change, which is really freaking cool. Like watching them go through all these changes to finally get to like a green snake, it's really awesome. And you can take some really amazing pictures of them while they're doing that. And the crested geckos,
they get enough
Facebook. The crested geckos don't do that.
Facebook funny bucks. Have you signed up for Facebook monetization? I'm almost at $5. So
yeah, if you wanted to get into that, I think that these days there's a lot more of them. And just research, look to see what kind of animals that person's producing are out of those animals, and make your decision that way. And I think that there are a lot more crazy looking animals being made. And I don't know if it's because they're all more condensed, or if maybe we're just having lots more people are breeding green tree pythons now.
Right.
And so we're just seeing a lot more animals, and because they're doing the hybrids. So hybrids kind of produce crazy looking animals sometimes.
Do you think if the animals, the really high melanistic ones, are there non-hybrid versions of those? Does that happen naturally anywhere?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is that that Aru has a black, not a dark green stripe. I'll find the picture and I'll share it in the Discord.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to say, like upstairs right now, I've got two Biaks that are, I'm not saying by hobby definition high melanistic, right? But they have a lot of black on them for a wild caught. So I'm going to try and pair those two together. Do I think that I'll probably get babies, some of them having more black than probably a couple more, a couple less, and some that have the same? And I feel like if you just keep line breeding, no matter if it's designer or wild caught or locality, you're going to get somewhere better, right? So this, and that's what I mean. Like, so like when they're doing that, when they're taking a pedigree, like a big pedigreed animal and taking it straight to like a wild caught Biak, I think that one, you're doing it because the Biaks are more robust, and you know what I mean? Because, you know, I'm not trying to say that they're flawed, but you know, sometimes hybrids aren't so robust when it comes to breeding, right? So it's like a lot of times they'll have smaller egg clutches and things like that. So I just think that people are still a little bit in that mode of I just want to get baby chondros, right? Instead of maybe, you know, waiting a little longer and trying to.
I'm playing that because I agree.
Yeah, go ahead, play. Yeah.
I like this species. I like the idea that some look this way, some look that way, and I like the different phenotypes that you can be like, that's a Naru, that's a Biak. Like I like that more than the hybrids. But now I forgot what I was gonna say. Damn it!
But do you think that they're happy? Do the people who like to do that are happy? I guess if they're happy, then like God.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I guess what I'm trying to say is like I feel like the issue is where they're influencing new people and not necessarily saying the whole picture, because the new people, you can get a captive bred baby Aru from somebody
I remember.
For less than, you know.
Yeah, and the other thing is that some of these crazy phenotypes that people really love, like the blue diamonds, that's a locality phenotype.
Exactly.
And
so if you get two
really
of them,
love the blue diamonds, why don't you get two of that species and then try to breed for it within? Because if it is polygenetic, if you're breeding within the species, then you're more
likely to link up. Yeah.
And I agree. I think that that's the problem. But the other problem is nobody, because you have to keep your animals and raise them up and see what they look like. And people don't really do that. That's the other thing.
Right.
And
is that just because they're not in the hobby long enough? The hobby, I swear, it has a 2-year turnaround.
I think a lot of times it's because you can't
sex them, and then they take so long to change, and sometimes they go through. It's not like it's just they have one change. Like the colors come in at different stages.
Right, but also I feel like they there's a push to make your money back, right? So like it's like you want to get that, and then you want to sell them because this is a hobby hustle, whatever you want to call it.
Because of nidovirus, the stigma of nidovirus in the chondro hobby.
Yeah, that could be.
Oh, buy babies because they're less likely to have nido.
Right.
I'm selling a snake right now. Sorry.
Good job.
He's like, I'm sending you money now. I'm like, don't, I'm on a live. I can't. Don't stop. And he's like, I sent you money. I'm like, I don't
really into these chondros, looking them up.
I like chondros. I think they're cool. I don't know.
I heard you say before. Yeah, I heard you say before, Jessica, like you feel like the pricing, you don't know what you're looking at. And it's like, that's where I'm like, for new people, I think that they should go, you know, if you just want to get one chondro, get a locality specific bred one. Like I bought 2 Biaks from Salisi. They were $1,200 a piece. Right. I mean, and
that's
they're
still
pure.
A lot of money though. It's not, I spent more than that on snakes before.
Right.
I just keep thinking like, well, if this is my like fun side project.
But it's captive bred though. Now
and
you can go.
I'm not saying it's not worth it, but I'm like, I can get a carpet python.
Now for you,
that would
though,
be just as fun for me.
For somebody like you though, I would say you could go the wild caught baby route, right, and spend $400, right, for you. But I'm saying just like a new person coming in, like.
I don't know. The longer you have any number of snakes, the more you're like, well, I'll get to it next decade or whatever.
Right.
You know, I would spend up. I would buy one from someone I like who doesn't have nido. I don't give a shit.
the worst part is if you wanted a pair, it's like it's really hard. You have to buy a bunch.
Right.
Am I ready for that commitment?
It's a
Yeah.
time thing too, because you could buy one and wait to see what sex it is, and then, but yeah, it's a time thing. There's yeah.
But I feel like the addiction happens once you hatch your first clutch, and if you are good and keep hold them all back and watch them all change, you will fall in love with them. Because I feel like I'm obsessed with them now.
Yeah.
Just
So
watching
I've been yeah.
I'm like, they're all different. They all change at different times too. Like this one stayed yellow for a long time, but then its pattern turned blue, so it was like yellow and blue, which was really cool. But then this other one started to do something totally different. But then in the end, they kind of matched up where they now they're about 15 months old, and they're kind of finally catching up with each other. But they did it in different ways. One got a totally white head, and that one the head turned totally blue. Like the yellow faded out, and then the head turned blue. And then another one, it stayed yellow for a long time, but then the yellow just started fading away, and I called it the ugly duckling. And I'm like, it's turning kind of this pale whitish color. And I thought, oh, it's going to turn blue too, like that other one's head turned blue. And then now it's just green. So it's like I'm trying to find a pattern, and you can't. They're just it's like,
well, does that make you sad in a way?
A little, but it's also exciting.
Okay. Yeah, it's part of
Quirky wants to know, and it was talked about in here, about the popping probing issue. Why do some people claim that they can pop or probe before a year? Do you think because they're hurting the babies?
You can do it, but you're gonna have a real high probability of having bent tails and bent spines and shit right in there. Of course you can do it.
They popped them and then sold it, and then never got to see what they did to their little animal.
Exactly. At 3 years old, it may come out with a totally bent tail at that point. So
yeah, the ugly duckling, the one I was telling you about, that one actually escaped, and I couldn't find it for like a day. And then I found it, and it always kind of perched funny after that. And I thought maybe it got like brain damage because it was December and it was like down on my bookshelf, like freezing cold. And but then, like, by the time it was like 8 months, I realized it had like a little kink on its tail, and I think that's why it was perching funny, because it probably hurt. Perch is fine now, but I didn't even notice it. So I don't know if it happened when it escaped, if it like fell on its tail or something.
Do they ever get kinked for reasons you don't understand?
So
otherwise,
they're really delicate. They're very, very delicate.
I've seen a boa do it, and that's not a delicate tail at all. They
also do this thing where they bend their back.
Yeah. So the cigar backing.
Pulled themselves over.
Yeah, right. It seems like there's like a hinge, like right around where the heart's at. And if they get too excited they can definitely like flip right back on themselves. That has definitely happened one time back in the day.
That happened to me so I had about half the clutch didn't want to eat. So I was having to assist feed. And I picked it up, being very gentle. It just flipped out and bent back.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened to that animal.
They're definitely fragile. And I guess that's what kind of like what I was saying before. Like, I don't think that an entire clutch of snakes is meant to make it, right? And some of them are born that are destined for the food chain, right?
Well, what I did was I did some chiropractic adjustment to it. I don't know if it helped it or
did that work?
It started eating later.
Yeah, and they can come back from it. So the one that happened to me, it was actually from Greg Maxwell, and it came in from Delta Dash, and it was I opened it up, put it in, and it was already bent back, right, from whatever shipping stress,
So it could have been that way for a while.
Yeah, but I know he didn't send it that way, right?
No,
So yeah, exactly. So but then it grew. I mean, it grew to an adult, but it did once it was an adult, it had a little dip
just
in
like
the spine right there
Mm-hmm.
where it's cigar backed, right?
That's
and
crazy.
I just think that
do you think
like
they would not do that if they were physically stronger, like their muscles, like they?
Well, I think it's
moved
because
more?
they're arboreal, right? So because they're arboreal, their spine is way less dense and it has, more articulation to it. So because it has so much articulation to it, I think
What are
there's
they
so much
called?
more.
Now you've given me a conniption.
What?
The pokey things on a spine, they're like processes, but what are they called when they're on a spine?
I don't know what you're.
Hold on, I'll Google it.
All right.
Keep talking. Sorry.
So yeah, I just think that they're much more fragile because of their arboreality. So
the other thing about it's not in the book, but they're trying to do the sex testing.
Corky asked that question. It isn't in the book at all. Also,
right.
They were doing shed tests, but it was weird. They couldn't do it like normal, like how they do corn snake shed tests, because they needed the side. They needed like the parents' shed too,
and the grandparents and the grandsire.
Yeah. So there's something weird with Morelia.
Yeah, it's all Morelia because they couldn't do it with carpet pythons
carpets
either.
too.
Yeah, they couldn't.
I'm wondering if maybe they don't have the XY. Maybe they have XXYY or something like that.
Yeah, and but there's so many. Yeah,
and maybe
snakes are weird, man. You have so many different possibilities. You got hermaphrodite snakes. You got
I just made that XXYY up. But you know what I mean? Like
it's possible that the zones that determine gender in those snakes are not normal,
right?
Not
just different. Just different. Right.
Maybe they're 4.
Like there might be 3.
Right.
Maybe there's 150 genders actually.
Oh shit!
Woo, they're pansexual. Hey. I'm not even kidding. It's probably the case.
Yeah.
Especially if they've been inbreeding on an island, because there's like 3 genders in those.
But it's the
vipers,
biggest island in the world.
Australia? I just mean like maybe Beox have gender determination that's actually different than other.
Oh, maybe it's because they're trying to sex hybrids. They're like, what is this?
Well, that's true too.
Well, they tried to do it with the carpets too, and it didn't. Yeah, it's all Morelia. Yeah.
But did they do it with our carpets or Australia's carpets? Because our carpets are hybrids too.
Shots fired.
You say all of them are? Uh-oh.
Maybe. Right?
Well, I think I have pure Darwins, but maybe I don't. I don't know.
Those are probably my favorite ones.
I don't know what it's called still.
That little bump, like when you bend over and there's like,
right. Well, each vertebrae have these like processes, like stuff that sticks out of it on everybody, and sometimes they'll have ones that go like this, which make it more rigid. But snakes have hardly any because they're trying to do this.
Right.
Woo,
and then arboreal snakes have even less.
Like the ball and joint on a chondro is even lesser, so they can superplex the wrong direction hard. Can we talk about sex-linked morphs that die? Are there any sex-linked morphs that die?
Oh.
I mean, there's no even real morphs except for the albino. Or you're talking about just period. They're talking about just period, I think, not just content.
White snakes with rainbow spots, and everyone was saying the snakes always die. I think it was some type of designer. Is there a designer with white snakes?
You're talking about the glasser? Is that what you're talking
morph
about?
linked.
Well, it's no real morphs technically, right? It's all just just the albino that you would call a morph. Like the other stuff is just kind of like line bred.
Oh, yeah, they call them lines.
Yeah.
He did talk about the albinos in the book.
Now, if you want to say, are there lines that if you keep breeding them together that they don't have? Yeah, probably, right? I think some of those.
Do you think the albinos are inherently weak, or do you think they're just inbreeding depression-ish, like the book thinks? What do you think? Have you ever
Yeah, I
seen
would
one in
probably
person?
say, well, there's only a couple, and Marcel Mendez is the only one that really has them, and he's got one that he's growing up right now.
Yeah, the guy that produced them, he produced like 1 or 2 clutches of them, right? He didn't produce very many, and then he got sick of it and quit.
Yeah,
Sick of the hobby or sick of albinos?
I don't know. It seemed like
Okay.
he got burnt out really fast.
Oh
Not
God,
the
what was
hobby.
his name?
I think he still keeps colubrids.
Oh,
Well, there was like implied in there that many people got pos hets, many people got
Right.
hets, and I'm like, well, where are the? It's been a long time.
Well, they
since
don't
that
know.
book happened.
Well, some of the people don't even know if they are hets.
But they were
Right, and
sold
then you
all
have
over
to-
the world, I think.
Right, right.
It's not like they're all in the US.
And before that, they knew that they were hets.
Mhm.
So that's an issue too, right?
Oh, you mean the ones from the Barkers?
Right. Or
Where
even
he got
the
his?
ones. So like he had sold siblings before the albino hit that could technically be, pos het, right?
And to our knowledge, it's been 10 years. Nobody knows if they also have, or did Marshall get them?
Marshall's produced them. Yeah.
But did he
definitely.
get all the hets from everybody else? Like collect them like a.
Yeah, from Rico.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he got possets and then he just kept breeding them, right?
I don't know exactly that, but I know he got them from Rico and then produced them.
Mm-hmm.
I wish there was someone that was nerdy about the how they're colored because what's his name, Jeff, who does the hognose. You know how he knows a lot about the color in the hognose snakes.
Mm-hmm. You mean like iridophores versus?
What is the blue? Is the blue related to the black, or is the because they start out when the yellow ones first hatch out, they start out like yellow, and then the pattern isn't black. The pattern's kind of like either red or this like dark brown. And
Do you think the red is the plesiomorphy?
I don't know.
Like the ancient condition.
Oh,
like the
yeah.
first.
Yeah,
condition.
that's what people say, because the other pythons on the island, the babies hatch out.
And the yellow appears to be recessive.
Yeah, the
Right.
yellow is recessive.
Red. But sometimes, fuck, dude. Sometimes new stuff is dominant over the old dog. Black in mammals is dominant over brown, and brown is the ancestral form. So like being
Right.
dominant but the other pythons are red-ish.
Yeah,
as
mostly
babies.
all of them have-
Red
yeah.
seems rare.
Right, that's the other thing. It's like, and then
Well,
like
in certain populations, right?
right when they
Right.
traveled south, the ancestral chondros, only the yellow traveled. But that seems sort of weird too.
Well, it could be founder effect, right? So if you have,
Mhm.
and
But
I
then,
do
like-
think that it's recessive. Because it's much easier. It's much easier to go from green from yellow to green than from red to green. Because like the red ones have to turn orange, then yellow, then green, right? They're doing the same thing. They just take a longer time, right?
Have you hatched any yellow babies
Oh, I haven't hatched
and
condors.
watched them change?
I haven't
Because
hatched.
it seems like some of the yellow babies kind of go through, they
Orange.
get dark, where they get
Mhm.
like this brownish,
Right.
like
Yeah.
reddish color on them before they turn
Green, right. Yeah.
And then the red ones, they do some of them get the melanin and
Mhm.
but not all of them, and some of them like they turn like this like orange color for a long time, and then
Yeah.
kind of
But not all of the yellow ones do that.
no. So like I watched the Beox turn green, and theirs looks different than the Arus, because the Arus get like this brownish red on them, and when I only saw one Biak, so it's a sample of one, but it just started getting green. It didn't turn like that orangish color, started turning green.
Yeah, and the Biak seem to get patches of green, whereas the others, they kind of like just kind of slowly fade to darker and
like
fade,
every day you're like, oh,
yeah,
it's greener.
Right, because this guy, when it had that dirty stage, and then it went kind of like lime green, and now it's getting darker green, as it.
Yeah, I think that the whole changing thing is just so interesting.
Yeah, it's awesome,
like,
man.
What is happening?
Well, you know how like baby emeralds are red
or green. Sometimes they're green.
They come out green.
Sometimes they come out. Yeah, sometimes they come out.
So there's something about being red that is successful. But yellow was okay enough to endure in a baby green snake. That's
Daniel Natush did a lot of studies to try to figure out what it was, and he did one that surprised me. He was trying to see which one would heat up faster, and the yellow one actually heated up faster.
Really?
Why?
Surprisingly.
What I want somebody to do is take a little clay snake, a yellow one and a red one, and stick them in the clearing and just see which bird eats which one first. That's what I want.
But there's a lot of different things. So there's like this plant there that's like the color of the red babies, and it has like this thing and it kind of looks like them. I think that it could be a lot of different.
Yeah, or like the trees in that habitat gets more yellow leaves that fall on the ground.
Right. And then
brownish red leaves that fall.
Do you think a lot of birds can see an IR light? No, ultraviolet light. They can see reflected ultraviolet light. Do you think baby chondros look different colors in ultraviolet light to birds?
Probably.
Okay.
So you mean that they look to us? Yeah.
Like I would like someone to be like, what's the reflectance in non-visible light?
You mean like the tiger with the deer, right?
Yes. Just like what does it look like to birds specifically who can see ultraviolet light? No,
definitely. I think they look definitely.
You know what trips me out is they live in the same rainforest as all these super iridescent snakes, like the water pythons, the scrub pythons, the Apodora pythons, the I feel like there's one more that I haven't thought of, but they all are like really iridescent, and they are not iridescent.
Right.
Do you think having iridophores like that make blue makes you not be able to make iridophores that make rainbow? Like, do you think it's a trade?
I just think it's weird that they're not iridescent, because
it is weird.
That's the only thing I like more about the emerald tree boas, but otherwise I like the green tree pythons a lot more.
It is. I mean, I guess you could have different kinds of iridophores, but maybe they evolved green by like hijacking
or maybe they're just already so colorful they don't need iridescence.
Well, I always thought iridescence was a byproduct of another selection. They don't want to be rainbow colored. They just need like the ability to go through mucky leaves without getting skin infections constantly.
Right.
So
that's why
put a lot of crystals in their scales, or they keratinize their scales a lot, like viper boas.
Scrub pythons don't go through the mucky. They stay in the trees too.
Okay. Well, then what's the difference? Like sunbeam snakes. That's the shiniest motherfucker you ever saw.
Right, because it's always,
it's always slopping around. But not all snakes slop. Some of them slop different ways. But and also it could have been like a plesiomorphy, so like an ancient trait that's no longer used. They just came from a sloppy ancestor.
And then not all sloppy snakes are really iridescent. Like you got like the fire and wart snakes. I mean, they don't have no iridescence.
So it might just be like something in their from their ancestor that they carried over that it doesn't actually serve a purpose anymore.
Mm-hmm. But in green trees, did they lose iridescence, or did other ones of the same clade gain them?
Most likely they lost it.
Okay.
Well, maybe they lost it to the green color. right? They're
Right.
the only
No.
ones that are that bright, right?
Carpet pythons are not that iridescent.
No,
But they're more iridescent
but they
than
do
green
have a
tree
little
pythons.
bit. Yeah. They do have a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, they do have it. Unlike green tree. I always say, oh, are you going to be iridescent? Because those black snakes, the ones that are melanistic, they would probably have iridescence.
Right, you'd be able to at least notice it. Because ball pythons aren't that iridescent naturally until you give them a dark morph. And then you can see what little there is.
And you get it in the right sunlight. Yeah.
Right. But like boas, like fucking pretty much all of them
are very iridescent.
Yes. They can't help
Are
themselves.
all boas iridescent? No,
Yeah.
not rosy.
I mean, to a certain
I don't know about
extent,
rosy boas, no. But like I just meant like boa genus. The whole thing is very iridescent.
Yeah. I love that about them.
All right, I don't know if we learned anything. I think we did though.
I would say get this book. It's a steal. Lots of great information, especially the natural history. There's really great pictures in there of green tree pythons.
There's some other like okay stuff for breeding. Like there's whatever follicle size when they think they ovulate, stuff like that. Like if you wanted to, there's like an ultrasound picture. So like if you're like, I like that it's
I would say
priced,
if you're thinking about green tree pythons, but you're not sure and you want to learn more.
Right.
This is a great book to get. It's not a huge investment.
Right. I think this is a great starter book.
Book, yeah.
And then like this one has two versions. This is an older school one that has more like locality information and stuff in them. It has like the whole story about the yapens and all that stuff.
Is that the same book, just different?
So it's so it's the same book, but it's like the complete chondro and the more complete chondro. So this one is the newer version. It has more in it. And this one has all the same pictures as this one, but more. Right.
I guess that is something this is missing, is like an exhaustive review of every locality variance
that we know, right?
And when did these ones come in? Well, they only came in once.
And then another couple of good books for like arboreal stuff, just in particular, is this one, Hunters in the Trees. I really like this book. It goes over like all arboreal snakes. And then this one's more like a picture book, but it's pretty cool. I like this book.
Oh yeah, I have one, not that one, but I have a Papua New Guinea one, kind of.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. All right.
So yeah,
I think we did it.
I think so.
We went longer than I thought we were going to. Honestly.
Sorry.
No, we did great. I sold a snake, I think. It was very efficient use of our time.
Yeah.
No, I liked the book. I thought it was fun. And it also wasn't talking down to me like I'm a little girl and I can't read. So that's my favorite part. Bye, everybody.
Good night.
Merry Christmas.
Night.